you some brief introduction in the last class. How do we do this experiment? In all the classes, we'll be following a common format. Of course, the contents, what you will be, the work, actual work you will be doing may be slightly different, but in general, you will be having a common format. So you'll be seeing a product on the table. So I hope you are actually following that group number 1, 2, 3, 4, etc. So there will be a product on the table, and there will be toolboxes available in case there's a need of toolbox. Toolbox also will be provided. So what we are going to do today in the first class, we'll be just looking at a product what is given to you. The first thing, you'll be seeing the product, and if the product is in working condition, the TA will show you the working of the product, or he will explain you what the product is doing, what is the main function of the product, and what are the things that you need to know about the basic functioning of the product. So that is the first thing TA will explain to you. And then you need to look at the product, make a rough sketch of the product, whatever you can actually see, whatever you can identify, prepare a rough sketch of the product. And then as a group, you need to look at what is the evolution of that product. So here you will not be doing a lot of survey or research, but basically you need to know what is how the product evolved over a period of time. That should be there in your report. So as a group, please discuss about it and then make some notes in your notebook about what was the first product and then how it actually evolved over a period of time, very briefly. And after that, identify the tools what you need to start the exercise. Identify the tools what is needed, such as screwdriver, cutting plier, or a spanner, whatever is needed, identify and make sure that the tools are with you. Okay? And then note down what are the tools you needed. And after that, you need to start the dissection procedure. So as I told you in the last class, you will start with the top cover or whatever it is, and then make a note of it, what was removed, and if there is a name, you just give a name to that, otherwise you put a number sticker on the top of it so that you know which was the first one you removed and how many screws and how many the nuts you removed. So whenever you remove a screw or a nut, please put it in a basket or in a container given to you. A small container will be given to you, plastic one. So put all the screws in that one, and then do this exercise one by one. Sometimes you will be removing a whole assembly and then removing the parts. So whatever you are doing, please record what you are doing and then make a note of it. I want all of you to record this. Don't give this to someone else and then just watch what he is doing. I want all these details in your notebook. Okay, and then each part when you remove, you identify the parts and then make a rough sketch of it. Look at how it is manufactured, what is the method by which it was manufactured, what is it doing in the product. So all those things need to be recorded. And then you need to prepare a report like this. So in this report, you have few things to be added. So as you can see, the parts list, the part name, material, a rough sketch, and how many quantities are there in that particular product, whether it is 4 screws or 2 covers or whatever it is. What is the manufacturing methods? So you may not be knowing all the manufacturing methods. So you can ask your TA, and if he is also not sure, you can go and search later and then add the data in the reports. So like this, you need to make a report, a table. So it's just an example here. Sorry. So you can see an example, the front case, cast steel, the drawing, quantity 1, and basic dimension. So this is also important. Make a basic dimension, what is the width, what is the length, what is the height, and what is the thickness of that particular element. Roughly, it need not be exact measurement, but whatever if you have a scale you can use, or you can make a rough measurement and then make the dimension. So this is the first step, identify all the components of the product and prepare a table. And then once that is completed, you look at the way how you disassemble the product and try to identify the sub-assemblies within the product. So what are the few things which add up to a particular sub-assembly, and then how many sub-assemblies will be there and how they are actually combined together to form the whole product. So that is basically the assembly chart. As you can see here, so few products will become a sub-assembly, and like that there will be many sub-assemblies, and all these sub-assemblies finally get into a final assembly, you will get a product. So it need not be always in the same kind of a sequence. There will be multiple parallelly. You can actually identify many sub-assemblies, and then they actually bring together as to a final assembly. So this structure also you need to identify in the product, and then prepare an assembly chart like this. So that is basically from the component point of view. Now you look at from the assembly, the top product. So if you take the printer, so printer will be at the top one, and then what are the different modules you can identify, like there will be a power supply part, there will be something which actually doing mechanical transmission, or there will be something which actually takes the paper in a printer. So you will be able to identify these as different modules in a product. So that also you try to identify how many modules are there. So you will be able to create this kind of a diagram where you will be able to identify the modules in a product, and that is the structure that you will be making. And after this, you give your observation comments. What is so good about the product? Why the product is so good? Or what you feel that can be changed in the product to make it a better one? Or is there a problem with the current design, whether it is difficult to assemble or difficult to operate? Whatever it is, it need not be 100% correct at this stage. Whatever you feel or observe, please write that as a observation from your end. And then your suggestion for improving the design also. Again, you are very new to design, so you may not be able to get a very detailed analysis of the design to suggest, but at least from your own understanding, what can be done in the product to make it a better product? That is what you need to add into the report.
Good afternoon, everyone. Today we'll be dissecting and studying about a printer. It's a HP DeskJet D4168 printer. So again, what is a printer? First of all, we're discussing that question. What is a printer again? Okay, good. So basically, it just prints like content on a sheet of paper. The sheet of paper can be of any size. Depends on it also depends on specifications of the printer, like what are the various size it allows to print. So we have this HP DeskJet D4168. So before that, I want all of you to study and read about evolution of a printer, like in which year it was invented, and what are the technological advancements for different printers, right? So coming to printing, there are like two primary technology for printing. So do you guys have any idea, like? So you said there are two types, LaserJet and inkjet. Can you tell me some 2-3 primary differences? Like that is fine. I'm talking about the functioning or working of these two different types.
Laser printer prints from the beginning to the end on one shot.
On one shot.
But inkjet printer prints line by line.
Okay, so I will explain what he said. So he's saying that LaserJet print, there is only one motion, only one direction, that is from top of the paper to the end of paper, that LaserJet. And in inkjet, there are like the movement of the nozzles which sprays the ink on paper moves in two directions. One in the like horizontal, let's call it horizontal, let's call it vertical. In both the direction it moves. That's a really good point. Any what else? Yes, that is also correct. LaserJet is faster than inkjet. But again, I think it was also because it can be one of the reasons is again the same, because LaserJet, for every line the nozzle moves from the cartridge moves from one end to another end and then comes down and do it. That is also a good point. What else? Capacity. So do you want to say that LaserJet printer you can print more copies at once? Okay. Cost efficient. How is it cost efficient?
The laser powder is so cheap.
So you want to say LaserJet printers are cheaper than inkjet printers? Okay, what is the difference in the ink of LaserJet and
It's liquid and it's powder. more quantity will be there. Exactly.
So what is, which one is liquid? Liquid? Inkjet. Okay, good, correct, that is correct. Powder, and that is cheap. Fine, but I will again, like, it's access for you guys to study the differences. Like, there are more differences, and as you mentioned about the cost efficiency and all, so read about that also, like LaserJet, like which one is cost efficient and which one is faster. So I think what I suggest you guys to, like, pick 3-4 printers of from our different companies of both types, and then try to do a comparative study on of like both. So coming to the same thing, LaserJet versus inkjet, do you guys know applications, like where all you find LaserJet and where all you find inkjet? Or why would someone prefer a LaserJet over inkjet? Okay. That is correct. Yes, yes, that is a really good point. So you find LaserJet printers mostly in office applications and corporate applications where you have bulk of paper to print, whereas inkjet is mostly popular for household applications or for custom users like me and you. That is also good point. So fine, you guys understood, right? Study about LaserJet and inkjet. You can add that in your report, the differences. So let's just now talk about what we have in hand. We have an inkjet printer today, and we'll be studying about this inkjet printer. So I will just give you guys a brief working. I will just demonstrate. I won't demonstrate. I'll just tell you how the inkjet printer works. So as you can say, there's a paper tray here. First point is, this is not the first point. So let's take it this way. So what is input? So whenever there's a product, so it has one input, right? It has one input, and then there is something happens, some magic happens in between, and then there's output, right? So what are the inputs to a printer, and what are the outputs of a printer? Paper is one. Just write it down, man. Keep on writing it down. So paper is one output. What is the second output? Sorry, I'm talking inputs now. Paper, what? Chord is what? No, chord is like, chord is your chord is a source through which an input is coming to printer. It's not an input. Chord is not an input. Yeah, so the input is data, not the chord or the system. So data is one, your sheet of paper is one, ink is one, and what else? Power. Good. Electrical energy is one. You need some electrical energy, right? And there is one more input. There is one more input to it. Okay. So what is that? What is that? Mean telling printer number of copies. What is that? Not specifications. This input. Yes, numerical input makes sense. But broadly, what will you call that? You giving numerical input. Command, right? So the command given by the user is also an input to the printer, right? Understood, right? So all these are my inputs to the printer. So let's talk about what are the outputs. What are the outputs? A printed paper. What else? What else is an output? Think in terms of energy. Heat energy. Heat energy is one output. It will get hot, right? What else? There is one more source of energy that will come out. Anything, any idea? Sound. Sound will also come out, no? So when the printer runs, you hear a sound. So that is also an output from the system. Fine. So now we know what are the inputs to a system and what are the outputs to a system. So what is the next step? We will study what is the system, right? What is happening in that black box that is taking in all the inputs and giving me all the outputs. Understood, guys? So now let's talk about the the black box in between. So what it does. So let's take all the inputs one by one. So how many inputs do we have? We have 5 inputs. Can you repeat those inputs? Paper is one. Ink is one. Okay. Data and commands. Fine. So let's take one input one by one. The first one is paper. So what happens to paper? So what we will do, we'll just take each input one by one, and we'll see what is happening to the input, how it is, what are the functions which are like happening independently on the paper, and what are the functions which are like codependent on your other inputs, right? So you take a paper. So you insert a paper in the tray. So what happens next? Suction is not a correct word. Yes. So there is a roller inside. So when you put a paper inside, roller will pull the paper in, right? So your paper is still a paper. Your paper is in same condition till now. No other function is acted upon it. Like it is just pulled inside with the help of a roller. So what happens next? What happens next? No, you don't heat in inkjet, right? You don't heat in inkjet. That is in laserjet. So it depends. Like, see, paper turns when. So where is the output? So in this case, I don't think paper will come. Paper will come from this side only. No. Yeah, it turns, and I will just no. Before that, something else happens. That is the next step. No. Yeah, no, it's straightened, but you print it. So you roll it, it goes inside, then you put ink on it, and then only it will turn and come out. No. So it's not like paper will come out as it is. There is something printed on it. It went inside, ink printed content, whatever content was there, and it came out. So this was the function of my paper. This is how my input. Yeah. Have you marked the attendance of all the TAs and? Yeah. So this is what happens to a paper. What is the second input? Ink is the second input, right? So, so I'll show you. There are 2 boxes. So this printer is prints both black and white as well as color. So there are 2 ink boxes in between, inside that. So ink, like it's in already liquid form. Nothing happens. It just goes to the, based on the content, it just goes to the nozzle and just prints. Nothing else happens to the ink, and then when it's on paper, it dries and it comes out. That's the only thing that happens to the ink, right? So what is the next input? Data. Data is the next input. So what is happening to data? So this is this printer doesn't. I don't think this has internet or anything, right? So you need to connect a USB to it, right? So there are a lot of printers which work on internet. So you don't need to connect it to a system. So if it's in a, let's say in a lab or a office, you just connect it to your Wi-Fi, and you can give the command statement from any of those desktop in your lab, right? But this one works on USB. So you have to connect a USB to get the data in. So how is data flowing here? So the content in your computer, it travels through USB and comes to a printer, right? And so now you have data with you. So what are the functions on data? Like, so what is active on data here? So what is happening to the data inside the printer? Okay, that is the end part. No, what happens in between? Okay, fine, I will tell you. So you have data. So yes, so data will tell you what will be the movement of your cartridge? What will be the movement of it, right? So, and where to depositing and where to not depositing. So how it works in an inkjet printer. So your starting point is this. It will go like this. It will go like this. It will come down like this. It will go. Fine, right? So data, the printer needs to know, right, where to put ink or where to not put ink. So this is what the data tells the printer. It has a motherboard also inside which reads data and then which converts into like the movement of your that thing. So that was data. What is the next input? Power. So power is nothing but electrical energy coming in, running everything. So you will see that electrical energy getting converted in mechanical energy to move the rollers. It is all converted into electrical energy because there is a motherboard inside. Already electrical, there is a motherboard inside, and then it's coming out as heat and sound, right? And it's also doing some work on the paper. Fine. What is the next input? Command. Command, yes. So command is given by the user, which tells the printer like how many copies to print and all that. Like whether to stop, you can even stop in between and all that. So we'll see what are the possible commands we can give to this printer. Right. So this is overall understanding of the printer. So now what we will do? So we'll just start dissecting it, right? And once you have all the components out, then I will have one more round of demonstration. I will tell you guys what is the function of each component and why is it relevant or why is it important, why is it even there in this printer, right? So guys, let's start. So you have to use these. So you have to write down everything like what was the first component you took out from the product, and you have to put the stickers on. You can number those components also. This is component number 1, this is component number 2, 3, 4. Keep a track so that so basically this is very easy to dissect. So you won't face the problem, but still it's a good exercise to keep a track of everything, like how many screws you unscrewed and what was the tool you used, and keep on taking pictures. So this is an all you can take one picture now, and then when you remove one part, take that picture now. So start doing it, and then we'll see how it goes. What is this? You guys are ruining everything. So this is our fine. You guys continue. Keep on putting the stickers and noting everything.
This is how they are ready.
And what do you call this?
This is the paper roller, like output roller.
No, how? You need to remove this first, no?
No. One sec.
It's up to you how you guys want.
That would be harder in like when you remove everything and it's dismantled, you don't know which part is where.
That's not taking photo.
We are seeing now. Longer one.
It's this spring here.
No, don't anything this thing now.
So this is the printing unit.
And this is a cartridge.
This is the cartridge. So with every line, with a mechanical chain out here, it moves line by line and prints.
So this is the motor which runs this mechanical belt and helps this cartridge move around.
Surya, let's first dismantle this.
Yeah.
Then we can proceed on the main.
First remove the cartridge.
So this is the color cartridge and this is the black and white cartridge. One is enough for both of them. They both places have springs. Okay. Springs.
This rod helps in the movement of the cartridge from left to right direction. And then this was connected by two springs and one washer kind of thing. So we removed the spring and the washer.
From two.
No, one small part came out.
This
Almost in some other places.
and then goes up and yep.
Oh, just keeping. Just keeping the products in order. So it'll be easier to reassemble. So, right now you're trying to figure out the next layer which you're going to remove. What do you say? You're saying that when the ink comes out, it clears it or something. Does it spread out the ink? Okay, so after every movement, this wiper sits with this part of the film and then it helps in spreading the ink. Yeah, it goes from down and comes back like this.
Very convenient. So I'm taking out a spring one by one. Which part is now pending?
This is a roller which helps the paper, which makes the paper move from the tray to the printing unit.
Then the paper moves ahead, the outer roller pushes ahead, and the paper goes out. Yeah, this one drags inside. You see the whole chain of axles. This works together. Yeah.
This is the last part we removed. This is a unit which holds the cartridge after every print. So the cartridge comes and rests on this. This has a spring which helps in closing the air gap through the cartridge. And there's a busher which.
Now they were lazy now.
It's not like
We already. That's how. This and this. Roller.
Oh yeah. So these.
Just speak louder.
So these three gads, they move simultaneously with the help of this motor. So this is where the paper, the movement of the paper occurs due to these rollers, which is controlled by this motor. So these are the three motors which work with the help of this. These three gads work with the help of this motor, and because of this only the movement of the paper occurs. So it goes in like this and then comes out like this. So it rolls.
They're like working.
Sujay, put this properly.
That's it.
No, it's already fixed.
This thing needs to pass through it. I made them do it.
Slow.
This wire, this chain. Now inside, the chain is inside the body. It's a spring. That's why spring is. Nothing happened as first this
No screws here. Good. No, no.
Put the cartilage back in the.
No, no, that will come last. That will put last. We'll put last. We'll put this one first.
Put inside, na? This goes inside.
Yeah, no, we'll put this one. It should be under this. No, so after this we'll put it. Yeah.
Two big screws.
Yeah. Screw this. Hey, Vashika.
Came out even before we removed this, no?
Yeah.
No, we didn't remove cartilage before we removed.
No, but yeah, see, we can't.
Cartilage you can exchange, no?
Cartridge anyone can remove.
Just we can't.
So the fixing is over. Now, like, we can start printing with this.